For describing thing of a word.
Yeah, that's close. What do you think it is? Adjectives. Now, do you guys know what an adjective is? Have you talked
For
about that?
describing thing of a word.
Yeah, that's close. What do you think it is?
Describing the word of another. Or like a
Of a noun?
Example, adjectives
Are boring.
Yeah, that's an example.
But they help describe our stories. Y'all were
That's an
talking to me.
example of.
Okay, you guys were talking to me about your field trip. It would be a pretty boring story to tell me about if you never used adjectives. Adjective, Joshua said an adjective describes what kind of word? A noun, that's right. So an adjective describes a noun or a pronoun. Yeah. Let's leave our pencils on the table. Alright, thanks guys. Alright, so what does an adjective describe or modify? What does it say? What kind of word?
You see like some problems with it. It doesn't
What words are in blue?
Okay. What do you guys think this story looks perfectly fine?
Alright. Okay, so these are some
We'll get back to
adjective
this at the
examples,
end,
like
and then
words
we
that
can
can be
few corrections.
adjectives. So what do I have written here?
Is that
So, we're starting with verb tenses.
Okay, so what are some adjectives we could use
I'm
to
sure all you
describe
guys
this
know
picture?
exactly what verbs are. It's always good to refresh your memory.
Sad,
A
because you
verb
don't
is
have
a
the
word
sugar
that is
here.
usually one of the
Yeah.
main parts of the sentence, and that expresses an
What
action
what
that
types of
occurs
adjectives
or
would you use to describe this picture?
When I hear
Delicious?
that like that, sometimes
Pink?
it doesn't really quite unless you hear
How about
examples.
you?
Sometimes it
What would you
doesn't.
say?
That's a noun.
So I've written down a few examples.
What if she
I
said
ate
the
pizza.
pink sherbet?
It would
Then
be
it
the
would
verb.
be an
You
adjective.
guys might think, well,
Because it
verbs can't be that
modifies or
important,
describes
but
the shape.
verbs are pretty important.
So what would you say,
Think about it.
Miles?
If you
How
want
would
to
you
eat
describe
there,
this
it
picture?
says, I blank the burger. You can fill whatever word, like I threw the
Can you
burger,
give me a
I
sentence?
kicked the burger. You don't
Are
know
you
what's
thinking?
happening to the burger. So verb is a very important word.
Alright, how about
You must
you
know,
said,
I went
what did you
fishing
say again?
seconds.
Delicious?
Like you to your parents, I went fishing,
Bad.
but you leave out the went.
What do you think, Miles?
Sad.
Sad? What about it is sad to you?
Like
That he
fishing.
dropped it.
That he dropped it? This is actually me. I was in Washington State and I got sherbet.
Or I lost
Did
my
you
license.
drop it?
I didn't drop it. It was
Oh,
quite delicious.
Oh, I thought you. I thought you dropped fell out like on the cartoon.
Okay. Alright, so
Okay, how about I played
list
soccer?
this. Alright, so when you're looking and trying to find adjectives in a sentence, is that hard sometimes to find them in a sentence or say this is an adjective? Or you guys, do you think it's pretty easy? Pretty easy? How about you, Miles? Do you think it's easy to find adjectives?
Now let's get to
Sometimes?
actual
How about you?
verb tenses.
Are you like okay with it or? Yeah? Okay. No, that's fine. You can tell me either way. Alright, so when we're looking for adjectives, it helps to ask these kind of questions to yourself, okay? This is how it helps me, you guys. I ask myself, how much of a certain kind? So, how many fingers do we have in one hand? 5 fingers. So that answers 5. Alright, so which kind? Which kind of sherbet was in the last picture? Pink sherbet, so that's an adjective, pink. How many? How many? Yeah, one. Numbers, answer how many. And which one?
I am learning.
Okay,
I am learning.
so which one was the best? Which person received the prize? Which boy is the smartest? Who has the highest grades? Who's the most athletic? Those are all ways we can discover adjectives.
And then future tense.
We're gonna look at this book.
Will
Have you guys ever seen this book before? It's called Harry Scar's Ordinary,
Will walk.
and it says what is adjectives.
That means it's gonna happen in the future, right?
So
Let's get to
read,
it.
each of you read a page, and we're just gonna go. It's a pretty silly book. But I just want to show you how obvious it is to see adjectives. It's not hard to identify them, okay? So go ahead and read one page, just this first page. Yeah.
Here, what's going on right now? It's happening right this minute.
Alright?
And
Miles,
then
read
I
this
heard
page.
what the teacher
There's
said.
the little.
You already heard it.
They
Science
describe
is
a
past
parent
tense
toe,
because it's
but
already
it has to be
happened, right?
smooth and small. Oh my
And
god.
then I
Alright.
went
That's
through
all
what the
rhyming.
teacher says
Yeah.
tomorrow. We'll hear.
I didn't know
And
you
then
were
tomorrow looks at a lot with that.
Orange or
It's
green,
gonna happen
hot or
later.
cold or
It's not happening
Those
now.
are
Alright,
round.
let's take it a step, because you have to raise your hand,
Oh yeah.
alright? Nope. And I have to call on you too.
Ah.
It's a 2-step process. Alright, so we're going to take it a step further to see if you really know what adjectives are, okay? So there's different types, okay? There's articles, demonstrative adjectives, indefinite, possessive, and interrogative. Yeah, exactly. Alright, so articles. Do you guys know, maybe, let's keep our hands to ourselves, okay? What is articles? Do you guys know what that is?
Like in the newspaper, like it's like a.
Okay. But when we're talking about types of adjectives, it's the, a, or an. And we use those words all the time, right? Before a noun. Anything that we say usually. A dog, a boy, a school, the pencil. Okay? So what are articles? What words are articles? The, and what's another one, Miles? A? Yeah. Okay. Demonstrative is that, this, these, those. So it's a definite. This pencil, that boy, this eraser. Does that make sense? It's like you're pointing to something, okay? Indefinite is something where you're not really sure about. You're like, not. It's the total opposite of demonstrative. So it's like some of those, several of these. It's not pointing to things. About. Yeah, a couple. So it's not very definite, okay? Possessive. Do you guys know what possessive is? You can tell me what that is.
I'm going to go into your room.
Alright, awesome.
Your, that's possessive.
Oh.
Your.
Oh, I thought you meant like possessive, like.
No. Okay. So if I said, this is my book,
Okay, so what would that
my iPad, his hands, your hair, that's all possessive. So can you give me an example of possessive, Miles? I would say something that's possessive. Yes. All right. Interrogative. What do you think interrogative is? We have interrogative sentences. So interrogative adjectives. What do you think that is? Does anybody know?
Yeah, good job. That's present tense right now.
Not necessarily. Interrogative asks a question.
Guess what? That's why I have to tell you the secret. I didn't.
Okay, can you tell me later?
Yeah, it doesn't take
Alright.
medicine, so I'm
Alright, don't worry about it. We'll work through it, okay? Alright, so interrogative asks a question. So like, which person won the prize? How many were in the group? Yeah, where? When? So it's those nosy questions, like a detective would ask. So it's like, which person? Okay? Alright. Now we're gonna practice, alright? So, do you guys have your pencils with you? Great. Alright, so everybody take a note card, just one, alright? Just take one of those.
I didn't mean to do that.
Alright. We're gonna look at this book and see the sentences. And we're gonna try to see if you can identify what the adjectives are in the sentence, okay? So I'm gonna read and then I'll show you the sentences, okay? Do you guys know about Shoeless Joe?
So what would now be? That would be the present.
Shoeless Joe Jackson once played an entire baseball game in his stocking feet. That's why they called him Shoeless Joe. Some say he was the greatest baseball player ever. Even the mighty Babe Ruth copied his swing. But what most people don't know is just how Shoeless Joe became a great hitter. So what are some adjectives? If you want to look at the sentence and write down what you think are the adjectives in the sentence. Remember, yeah, write it down if you think that's one. Remember what we said an adjective is. It describes an act. So they're describing words, okay? Do you maybe remember what are some of the questions we talked about? How to distinguish what an adjective is. Think of those too when you're looking at the sentence. Okay? So write at least 3 down that you see in those sentences, okay? And then we'll move to the next page.
Okay, what would that one be? That's great job. Okay, what's your next one?
Can you see? Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
what would that one be?
Alright. Alright, write one more, guys, and then we'll move to the next page. And then we'll do the same thing, but on an app.
Okay.
Okay? Alright, this next page, are you guys ready for this? They say before Shoeless Joe was to start playing in the minors, he fell into a terrible hitting slump. worst slump of his life. No matter what he tried, Shoeless Joe simply could not hit a baseball. He changed the way he stood at home plate, but it didn't work. Switched from batting lefty to batting righty, but that didn't work either. He even tried wearing glasses, but still it didn't work. Shoeless Joe grew more and more concerned. How could he possibly play baseball if he could no longer hit?
That I read earlier.
Alright, so look at
This morning, I wake up and we'll decide to go
did
for
you
a
find a
jog.
sentence with
I
that
put
word
on
in
my
it?
I put on my running shoes, I put my and we'll head out the door. I start by walking for about 3 minutes, and I'm jogging
Not
for
they.
about 10 minutes. After all of that, I will walk back to
That's
my
a
room.
pronoun.
Now, are you guys thinking
So write down 2 adjectives that you see in some of these sentences,
after
okay?
we talk about the verb, more of them stick out. Read it one more time. This morning, I wake up and will decide to go for a jog. I put on my running shoes and will head out the door. I start by walking for about
Okay.
3 minutes.
Does anybody need more
and then
time?
jogging for about
Maybe to
10
find
minutes.
another one?
After all of this, I
Okay.
will walk back to my room. Okay, so I have a couple more copies of this that I want you guys to fix for me. Now, as you guys see, there is a number in front of this.
Okay.
That means that there will be 2
The next page.
issues in this sentence. There'll be
This
one
one
issue in the
says,
next sentence.
then Shoeless
one
Joe
issue in
had
the
an
next
idea.
sentence,
He
one
went to
issue
see
in the
his
next
friend,
sentence, and then one issue in the
old
next
Charlie
sentence.
Ferguson.
So that way you guys
Old
can
Charlie
help
was
out.
the finest batsman in all of South Carolina, and in all the South for that matter. It had to do with a baseball
And
bat.
then I
Old
just want
Charlie
you guys
was a
to
man.
just
Charlie,
cross
said
out
Shoeless
one that's
Joe,
wrong, and then
I have an
correct
awful
the
problem.
one at the bottom.
I can't hit a baseball anymore, and I'm supposed to start playing in the minors. I need your help. So look at these sentences that I just read, and see if you can identify some adjectives in the sentence. And write them down. Write 2 down for me, okay? If you can find 3, that's great. Or like at least 2. Do you remember maybe the different types we talked about, like articles, demonstrative? Usually articles are really easy to find, or if you find the nouns in the sentence, then you just look and see if they're described at all. That would be nice. It depends how it's used in the sentence, but that's usually it. Does it describe what type of friend it is? So you could put his, because that's possessive. Does that make sense? Okay. Are you guys ready to move on to the next page, or do you need to look at it a little longer? Not I. No. I is a pronoun, because it's the subject, right? Probably.
This morning, I wake up.
So,
I wake up.
Okay, well, let's move on. I think y'all understand what homonyms are and all that. So now we're gonna move on to the very last thing.
does that make sense? Like if you find the nouns, usually you can find an adjective. It describes about that noun.